Good morning and welcome to the Blue Earth County Board of Commissioners meeting of May 3rd, 2022. If you'd all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have the agenda review.
Mr. Chair, there are no changes to the agenda today.
Move to approve.
Vance moves to approve. Second.
Second.
Second by Kip. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed carries. All right. First up is the Community Corrections. And John.
Good morning, John.
Good morning, John.
Good morning, Commissioners. One quick item for you this morning. I have for you in the packet, I have a memo, and also you'll find a resolution and a joint powers agreement between Blue Earth County Community Corrections and the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension. So this is an agreement for the next 5 years, and it will allow the Community Corrections Department to continue to use the tools and systems available from the BCA. So included in your packet is the memo. It's also a resolution in there as well, but then there are two agreements in there. So one is the basic joint powers agreement between our department and the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, the BCA, to continue using the Criminal Justice Data Communications Network. It's where we obtain really criminal history checks, where we obtain that information as a primary use of that information. And then there's also one specific to court services data, which really does cover our uses, and like I was saying, for our purposes of obtaining information and primarily focused on, like I said, investigative information or background checks is really what we're using that for. So this agreement, like I said, would be for the next 5 years, and I would just respectfully request that the commissioners approve that joint powers agreement between my department, Community Corrections, and the BCA.
I'll move approval.
Been moved by Kip.
Second.
Second by Vance.
So both those actions are in the same resolution?
They
want two
will be,
actions?
yes. So it'll be the resolution and then the two joint powers agreements in that resolution.
Everybody understands? So any further questions? Otherwise then all those
Good
in favor
point.
say aye.
Aye.
Opposed carries. Okay.
Thank you.
very much, John. Yes, we have the next, we got
Morning, Craig.
Morning, Craig.
Morning. Good morning. I only have one item today. This is on the petition for improvement of Judicial Ditch 33. Judicial Ditch 33 resides in sections 22, 23, 26, 27 in McPherson Township. JD 33 is a public drainage system established in 1918 with approximate watershed of 896 acres. On December 6, 2021, a drainage staff received a petition for improvements to JD 33. On December 21st, 2021, the Drainage Authority appointed engineer Chuck Brandel of INS Group to prepare a preliminary survey for the improvement. The preliminary survey report was filed with the Blue Earth Property and Environmental Resources Department on March 25th, 2022. We are requesting the approval of the attached findings and orders, setting the hearing for JD 33 Improvement Preliminary Survey Report for June 21st, 2022 at 9 a.m. on the second floor Board of Commissioners room at the Blue Earth County Historic Courthouse, 204 South 5th Street, Mankato, Minnesota.
Brunder would move approval.
Kip. Brander moves approval. Second. Second. Any discussion? All right. All those in favor of the date setting, and all say aye.
Aye.
Opposed carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, Craig.
2. Thanks, Craig. Okay, next we have Ryan.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning, Ryan.
Morning, Ryan.
Today.
I suppose you're going to take a little bit longer than last time.
Do my best. Set a tough bar, though, for getting out of here quick.
Yeah, especially with the list of stuff you got.
We have a full slate here today.
Yeah,
so-
you do.
So bear with me, we got a
That's a
lot.
good thing.
Believe it or not, we got a lot going on.
No, we believe it.
First action item is consideration of a resolution for prioritization for bridge replacement projects. This is a list that was updated generally annually. This includes a resolution for replacement of 30 bridges totaling $17,940,000. The bridges are eligible, or we anticipate will soon be eligible for state or federal replacement funding. So with that said, this is also a pretty useful tool when we go visit our legislators and provide them with a copy of this so they can really see that here's our need for Blue Earth County specifically. So I would recommend approval of the resolution included in the packet.
So moved.
Second. Moved by Vance, second by Kevin. How much did you say it was?
$17,940,000.
More discussion, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carries. All right.
All right, my next action item is the bid abstracts will make their way around. Is consideration of bids for State Aid Project 007-598-29. This is on County Road 151, bridge replacement of existing bridge number 3773 over the Rice Creek. This is a really old, robust, concrete, very narrow bridge, so it took quite a while for this bridge to become eligible for replacement funding. We received funding in late 2020 and had to make some tweaks and updates to the bridge plans to bring it to the current specifications as we've discussed previously. The engineer's estimate for the project was $653,137. The apparent low bidder was M&K Bridge Construction with a total bid of $701,731.77, which was 7.44% over our estimate. The other three bidders, Structural Specialties, Minowa Construction, and Dunick Incorporated, ranged from 24 to 48.7% over our engineer's estimate. M&K is currently working for us. They have the county road, county stated Highway 40 bridge, and we anticipate the way we laid these projects out is that they'll be able to work in stages on 40 and then jump to this one on 151 and just kind of follow suit with the same operation. They've worked for us several times in the past. They're out of Walnut Grove, Minnesota. Good, small local contractor. We enjoy working with them, so I would recommend award to M&K Bridge Construction.
So moved. And moved by Kevin.
Second.
Second by Vance. Any further questions? And they're all gonna be, a bunch are gonna be higher.
I get better news later.
That's just you can go through it relatively quickly, and there's only like 4 or 5 items that they're way high on. Mobilization was really alarming to me.
Yep.
I mean, we were estimating 20, and one of them was at 180.
Mobilization is one of those items where contractors will stick a lot of uncertainty and or risk and or maybe items that they're not sure how to hedge it into
Sure.
other bid items.
Just different, seeing all the different numbers.
Well, and it seems like they're already doing work for us. M&K probably doesn't have to mobilize, like, they don't have to do the.
They've still got to send their low boy from Walnut Grove to Brewer County to pick up whatever piece of equipment and move it on to the
Yeah,
next
that's
job and send it back. So it's still a cost, and I think there's a lot of them that have a lot of uncertainty with fuel prices, obviously, being where they are right now. I mean, I just filled up my truck with diesel this morning, and it was over $150, so I can only imagine a big rig.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Any further questions?
Nope.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
All right.
We have,
Action item number 3 is consideration of a State of Minnesota Local Bridge Replacement Program Grant Agreement. This is for the same project, stated project 007-598-29, County Road 151 for the bridge replacement. It includes $419,184 from the motor vehicle lease sales tax, which covers 100% of the eligible bridge replacement cost because this is on a county road. Remember, if it was on a county state aid highway, we would only get 50% of the bridge eligible cost. This will require $282,547.77 of local funds we currently plan on using local option sales tax proceeds to cover the roadway and approach grading costs. With that being said, I would recommend approval of the grant agreement.
So moved.
Moved by Kevin. Second.
Kip.
Kip. Second.
By Kip, I meant. Okay. Any other questions? All those in favor then, bid, say aye. Aye. Opposed, carries.
All right, thank you. And we'll move on. I'll pass on the next bid abstract. This is for County State Aid Highway 11. This is the stretch from CSAH 20 to Minnesota Highway 68. State Aid project number 007-611-012. There was an engineer's estimate of $6,218,405.24. The apparent low bidder was R&E Enterprises of Mankato at $5,939,674.68, or 4.48% under the engineer's estimate. The second highest contractor was Mathewitz Construction at 4.5% over the estimate, followed by Minnesota Paving and Materials at 5.3% over. So those two are fairly tight to each other. And Central Specialties was highest at 18.39% over the engineer's estimate. With respect to R&E, as the apparent low bidder, there is a 9% difference between them and the next lowest bidder. R&E does have limited experience with this type of project. They're looking to expand their operational capabilities and the scope of work that they can do. They have worked for us successfully in the past as a subcontractor and a gravel hauler contracts for our maintenance operations. They've also performed gravel hauling, placement, and tolerancing on the most recent Highway 14 project. In addition to that, they had also done a highway safety improvement program project for the county. So they're a local contractor that has vested interest in a successful project. We did have subsequent conversations with them regarding their capability to properly perform the scope of the work on this project. They did provide us with a summary of their equipment that they intend to provide to the site, as well as the staff, a little bit of their experience. It appears to be adequate, so this will probably be a little bit of a learning experience for them, but we anticipate having good staff out there to help guide and make sure things go smoothly as possible. With that being said, it is also, in my mind, beneficial to have another local contractor that can bid on these kinds of bread and butter projects that we do routinely. So if they can figure out how to do these projects effectively and we can have somebody right out of town able to pursue them, that's a good thing. So with that, I would say we certainly will recommend approval to R&E Enterprises.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Kevin and seconded by Lance for R&E Enterprises. Bid? Questions? All those
Mr.
in-
Chair,
Okay, Kip.
do we have a staff person out there full-time or part-time?
Full-time.
Full-time?
Yep.
From our department, the
From
one
our
who subbed that out?
Public Works, correct.
Okay.
It's obviously dependent on what the operations are. If they're out there drying dirt and we've got something else going
Right,
on. But
yeah, well,
in general, any of the critical operations, we're out there
Yes,
the same
that's-
hours the contractors are.
Okay, thank you.
This will be, we're hoping this is the last year where we're spread thin because of the turnback project.
Oh,
And
okay.
the last leg of that, that's, you add whether we do $10 million worth or $8 million worth of work on the turnback project this year, that's a big project to wrap up that takes 1 to 2 staff. So we've got this is another big year for our staff. So we're hoping to get back to more of a normal with our local levy money, our county state aid highway and local option sales tax will keep us more than busy, but not excessively to the point where we have been the last 4 or 5 years.
We'll wait a couple more years before we do another turn back.
We'll talk about that later. I've been approached.
Okay. Any other? All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carries.
All right. The last bid I'm going to pass around is for County State Aid Highway 12. This is the stretch from CSAH. Let's see, it's kind of goofy. This is for the stretch from CSAH 26 that goes east to Madison Lake, up to the North County line at County State Aid Highway number 2. This project is State Aid Project number 007-612-023. Engineer's estimate was $2,607,700. $716.40. And Minnesota Paving and Materials was the apparent low bidder at $2,536,100.01, which ended up being 2.75% under the engineer's estimate. The next bid was Mathwitz Construction Company, which was 19.8% over the engineer's estimate, and Wendell Lawrence Construction at 21.66% over the estimate. So good numbers from MPM. You know, obviously we did try to adjust our prices after we got our overlay bids back, and we brought our engineer's estimate up a little bit to try to compensate, which is why you're seeing these being right in the ballpark from what we had thought they were going to be in February or March. Obviously we've encountered a dramatically different bidding environment. But the numbers from MPM are certainly good, and we're excited to get this project underway. With that, I would recommend award to Minnesota Paving Materials.
Move to approve.
Second.
It's been advanced, second by Kip, for paving and materials. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carries.
Action item number 6 is the consideration of the omnibus assignment and assumption agreement or bill of sale / lease termination for the Rapid End. This agreement is for the lease termination and the transfer of ownership hydroelectric production components, which would transfer the ownership from Eagle Creek Renewable Energy / Rapid End Hydro over to Blue Earth County. Obviously, that's an important piece if we do eventually decide to bring the dam back online for electrical generation. We've reviewed these documents during the April County Board work session, and I think Commissioners Struenberg and Papp have also seen them previously as we've discussed during our meetings with Eagle Creek. Bob has also been on those calls and reviewed the documents as well. And we did have a conversation yesterday with Eagle Creek Renewable Energy, providing updates on where the county's at. And we did agree that May 14th effective termination date would, if the county board approves this document, would be ideal. That would give the county time to get the current Eagle Creek employee on as a temporary employee through the county so that they can continue their routine monitoring activities that are required. So with that, I would recommend approval of this document with a May 14th effective date.
So moved. Been moved by Kevin,
Second.
second by Kip. Okay, May 14th. Any further discussion?
It's much time as we've been spending on this for the last 2 years, you know, it's good to see it's finally coming around and things are happening.
Right.
We still have a lot of big decisions to make on this, but this is just a start.
Yes. Understatement, yeah. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carries.
All right. Action item number 7 is consideration of the transition services agreement for Rapid End Dam. This agreement is to allow Eagle Creek Renewable Energy the opportunity Blue Earth County have the opportunity for Eagle Creek to provide us with technical assistance, and that includes things like opening and closing the Tainer gates, things of that nature, which we actually need to do within the next week or so to get the buoys out upstream of the dam. So some of those things we're not well versed with, we haven't done in the past, so they'll continue to do that through the end of this year, and then hopefully by then we've got a decision made on the fate of the dam and determine appropriate actions as necessary. With that being said, we would also propose the May 14th effective date for this agreement.
Move to approve.
Moved by Vance,
Second.
second by Kip. Any questions? All those in favor then say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carries.
All right, thank you. Action item number 8, consideration of a cooperative construction agreement for state aid projects 007-610-024 and 007-672-004. This is for county stated highway number 10 and 72 in the city of Vernon Center. The city is advertising for these projects for a May 20th bid opening, and the anticipated county construction costs and overhead costs for city engineering staff, inspection, contract administration, prorated our project is $1,839,655 for both county stated highway 10 and 72, and the anticipated city costs are $278,194. This is a project that's been years in the making for reconstruction of both roads. It sounds like CSAH 10 will be performed this year and 72 will be followed subsequently in 2023 because of concerns about business access and things of that nature. And this is obviously part of a much wider city reconstruction project. So with that, the agreement will have the city consultant engineers acting as the lead agent, the city acting as the lead agency through their consultant engineers at SEH. They'll be doing the contract administration and project inspections. So I would recommend approval of this agreement.
So moved.
Second.
Kevin, second by Kip. Other questions for the contract? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carries.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Just some informational item updates on projects that we have going. The CSAH 40 Bridge replacement project, the road was closed yesterday. Construction is beginning today. On the County Road 169 bridge replacement project, both abutments have been poured and beams should be set late this week or early next week. So they're already making pretty good progress on those, on the County Road 169 bridge. And obviously we laid out those bridges subsequently so that our staff would be able to kind of hop from one project to another in some of those more critical stages. The 2022 bituminous overlays work will begin Monday, May 9th. It will begin on CSAH 27 and then move on to County Road, County State Highway 48. That's the segment south of Madison Lake, north of Highway 14. Then on to County State Highway 5. Minnesota Paving Materials is going to pull out for a couple of weeks to do another critical timeline project, and then the return to resume the remaining roadways. 7 in Mapleton, the crews began sidewalk work last week with a shoulder closure. The full road was closed yesterday for full reconstruction to begin.
What's the timeline on that one again, Ryan?
The goal is to have that open mid-August prior to
So
school
fall,
opening.
school and fall
Yeah.
harvest?
And we've had meetings with the city, the county, the school district, and their contractors, their construction managers, because obviously we've got some challenges associated with that project with respect to making sure they've got a lot of work to do yet this year on the school site.
Cool, yeah.
And all three of its access points come off of either County State Highway 7 or Borkert Street.
Oh,
Both of those roads are going to be under construction this year as well. But I think we've got a pretty good plan. We got everybody in the room. We've got weekly meetings set up to coordinate. WW has a good approach to the project where they're going to build 7 in halves so that they can build the south half first without impacting the school, and then do a flop. And they even think when that happens, then ideally we can bring Borkert in from the other direction. So they've got a good approach with it. We're using the school driveway as kind of the fulcrum point or the balance point, so that once they move to the north half, then obviously there's a little detour where traffic would have to come down Highway 22 to our CSAH 29 back up 7, but there's a way in. So it seems like it, knock on wood, should
Okay.
work out fairly well. We've already discussed 10 and 72 in Vernon Center with the bid letting on May 20th. 11 and 12 obviously have just been awarded and will be ready to go once contracts are approved. CSAH 16 from the LeSueur River to County Stated Highway 90. Detailed design is progressing. I'd say we're at about 30% with the profile and alignments being set. This is a really challenging segment of road due to the proximity of some of the homes and the steep slopes. Not only is the road steep, but then you've got steep adjacent slopes, which makes it very difficult to tie things in. We will have to probably try to fit some urban sections in some of those areas so that we can limit the need to cut in slopes, ditch bottoms and back slopes, which really would encroach on those homes pretty severely. So we're working through that process, and that's a practice we've done on several other roads. 13 from 169 to CSAH 1, the design alignment profiles have been set. We've met with the higher impact landowners and had, I think, really good meetings with them, actually. Gotten feedback on their preference for the alternatives that we were able to present to them. So we're incorporating that into our design, and it's moving forward on both the road as well as the big bridge and the box culvert over the county ditch. On County State Highway 26 from 57 to Minnesota Highway 22, the design is also progressing. We need to meet with high impact landowners such as the trailer park very soon. We are mailing out today open house notifications for a May 24th public open house meeting from 4 to 6 p.m. That'll be held at the Public Works Department, and you should all be receiving a copy of that notification for that meeting. So With that, that does conclude my report. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Anybody have any further questions for Ryan?
Good report.
Good report,
Good
full.
report, and tell your staff to be safe out there this season.
Thank you, and they wanted me to thank you for the donuts last week as well, so
And thank you for inviting us to the safety meeting.
absolutely,
What a nice visit.
it was. All right, have a good rest of your day.
Thank
Thank you, Ryan.
Thanks, Ryan. Looks like then we have Patrick, County Attorney.
Morning, Pat.
Morning.
Pat.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, if there's any questions on any of the information contained in the report, please let me know. Things have been a little bit busier than normal. We're still seeing the trend of some places, most places nationwide are seeing an increase in violent crimes and decrease in petty crimes. As of last week, we now have 10 open homicide cases in our office. So those can be very taxing and time-consuming, but we continue to move forward. So any questions, concerns, or comments, please let me know.
Mr. Chair.
Yep.
Pat, you and I talked a little bit about this the other day, but could you just tell the rest of us, how much time and energy goes into those homicide cases and kind of the layout of the staff you have assigned to it and how you stay involved with it?
It's interesting. I should bring this sometime, and this is from a case a few years ago. First of all, I'll just say that typically they say that the average homicide case will take 2 attorneys 200 hours each, and that's not including any staff time, any victim witness coordination, and all that fun stuff. But I can tell you just off the top of my head, I went back and looked at a case from a few years ago, and there were over 23 law enforcement officers involved. There were 11 BCA forensic scientists that were involved. There was a forensic psychiatrist, a forensic psychologist. There were over 2,700 pages of documents that came to me to review. That did not include any of the technology dumps from computers, cell phones, things of that nature. There were 8 search warrants executed. There were over 70 names that were associated with the investigation, and somebody else had to follow up on each and every one of those names, and there were over 200 businesses that were listed that someone had to follow up on. So, and that one wasn't as involved as others that I've had in the past, but that just kind of gives you a little bit of a snapshot of what goes into some of these cases. Right now, with the file that's currently being investigated at this point in time, I know that there's been over a dozen officers, law enforcement officers involved and whatnot. So it just continues to be time consuming, and but we'll get through it. This is, I had 3 open ones that I took on myself at one point in time early in my career. It's not fun, but you manage to get through it. Hopefully that gives you an idea.
Thank you,
And
Pat. I
thanks
just
for
thought it was
that question.
important that kind of stuff gets talked about. We don't, unfortunately, have to talk about homicide cases, but it is what we have here in the county, and good to know how you're dealing with it, so thanks.
Well, we actually had to, now that you said that, because I wanted an aerial view of the crime scene, so they had to take one of the officers out of the school resource officers to come out and fly the drone. So,
Okay.
just last week.
How many
Thank you.
cases are active?
10.
Murder cases? 10?
10.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Mr. Chair, and maybe this isn't a question for you, more the Sheriff's Department, but just kind of a rough, help me understand how much time, and maybe Commissioner Schoenberg can be helpful as well, how much time in a normal week or month or whatever percentage of a time for a law enforcement officer is in court, preparing for court, that's really involved in that, not in the office doing other things. Just, and I'm sure it's different for different types of officers.
It really is. It's much different. If like, for example, I know Deputy Arkell, he's the Grant DWI enforcement officer. He ends up spending quite a bit of time compared to other officers in court. There's one day a month that they have the implied consent block, and if Chris is involved in any of those cases, then he's in court at least once a month based upon that. But then on the criminal side of the house, he'll come in. There are some officers that rarely go to court. The investigators, it just depends on the type of case. You know, Justin Lindmeyer will be doing more of the child protection cases moving forward, so chances are that he'll end up in court more than the average person just because of the nature of those cases. But I would say that's on a monthly basis, you know, I would say Chris Arkell probably spends at least 10 hours a month preparing for in court, whereas the average deputy or average officer might spend a couple. And then you get into some of the investigative positions, and it depends on the nature of the cases. We're fortunate we have the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension that has 4 agents at the Justice Center. Hopefully that things will get through the Justice or through the legislature this year, and they'll build a new building next to the Justice Center. And I believe they plan on employing between the forensic services and basic agents and different various types of agents that they have, there'll be over 50 people in that building. So, and that just gives you, that's a good question, Kevin. I appreciate you asking that, because it is something that takes quite a bit of time and takes away from, you know, and Commissioner Sternberg, you could talk to just what it takes. Somebody calls for service you might average in a day and how much time you spend on paperwork. Now, computer work.
I mean, that's something I think we don't, because we don't see it, we gotta forget that
Right,
they don't have 100% of their day available to
right.
be, do the rest of their job.
TV shows don't help either.
Very true.
You know, when you look at just the smaller cases, the DWIs and stuff, I mean, you take away the time that you're one-on-one with the person that you're arresting, you know, and that's going to take probably an hour, hour and a half. You have 2 hours of paperwork after that, just for a DWI case, you know, and for officers that are really look and want to make sure they get the drunks off the road, the ones that do write a lot of DWIs, they spend a lot of time in paperwork. We probably get some overtime hours just because they can't get it done before the end of their shift.
Sure.
But, and then I mean, I've only handled and worked with a couple homicides in my career, and I know the amount of time that I spent. I was a small player in the investigation part, but I can only imagine the hours upon hours of just paperwork and investigations that go before the court hearing comes. It's amazing.
There's been a couple of times, Commissioner Pfaff did in the past, that we've received some chuckles because when the state puts out an 8-page DWI made easy guide. So, and literally, it's 8 pages, so.
Thank you.
All right, yeah, thank you for that. Okay, and we go on to administration. Bob?
Mr. Chair and Commissioners, first item is the county board minutes for April 19th.
Motion?
I'll move approval.
Kip moves
Second.
approval, second by Vance. Questions? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries.
Next are the bills for the 2 weeks indicated.
Move the bills.
Second.
Moves the bills, Kevin seconds. No questions, then all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carries. All right.
Mr. Chair and Commissioners, item number 7 in your packet is the Human Resources Department agenda. We do have one action item for the board's consideration today, and that is authorization for the chair and the county administrator to sign a memorandum of understanding with the Law Enforcement Labor Services Sheriff's Non-Essential Unit. This is our 911 dispatchers. This is a memorandum of understanding similar to what we did with the correctional officers regarding lead worker pay and shift differential. This would change their existing lead worker pay, which is currently at $4 per hour when they're serving as a lead worker, to $5 an hour effective May 8th, and then increase it to $5.50 an hour effective January 1st of '23. The change to the shift differential, Currently, that is at 60 cents an hour, would increase it to 75 cents effective May 8th, and then to 95 cents effective January 1st of '23.
Okay.
We move to approve.
And Vance moves to approve.
Second.
Second. Is it Kip? Kip. Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, carries.
Thank you. Under informational items then, we have filled a correctional officer position in the jail. We've also filled a probation officer in our community corrections department. Also another part-time correctional officer in the jail. We did have a resignation of a part-time correctional officer though, so we've initiated recruitment to refill that position. We also had a resignation of a property and environmental resources specialist, and we've initiated recruitment to fill that position. Then we had a resignation of an appraiser in our property and environmental resources department, so we've initiated recruitment to refill that position. We also had a resignation of a lieutenant effective June 26, so we've initiated recruitment to fill that lieutenant spot in the sheriff's department. Then we had a promotion of a taxation and records supervisor to assistant property and environmental resources director. And so we've initiated recruitment to backfill that taxation and records supervisor position. Then we had two promotions of child support enforcement specialist to child support officers. So those internal promotions have led to the need to recruit two child support enforcement specialists. I'd be happy to answer any questions the board might have on any of those items.
Anybody have any questions? Bob?
I don't.
If not, then item number 8 in your packet is a real estate purchase agreement resolution. This is a resolution delegating authority to the county administrator to negotiate and execute a real estate purchase agreement for the purchase of land to be used for the construction of a new public works facility. The county, as you know, has been exploring for over a year land options to build a replacement public works maintenance facility, given the limitations and condition of the current facility on Map Drive here in Mankato. As staff have explored options, we have considered land costs along with other development costs such as grading, high-speed internet access, and proximity to city sewer and water. In addition, operational considerations have been factored into the site selection process, especially access to snow plow routes and other road maintenance activities. As a result of these considerations, a 76.31 acre parcel at the corner, the southeast corner of Stoltzman Road and 200th Street in Mankato Township has been identified as a suitable location for the new public works facility. I can tell you that staff have reached a verbal tentative agreement with the owner of the property on the price of the land. We are currently working through other provisions of the purchase agreement with the assistance of the county attorney's office. So today I'm seeking board approval of the resolution so that when all provisions of the purchase agreement are resolved, the purchase agreement can be executed, which will allow work to progress with the intent of starting construction about this time next year. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions the board might have regarding the resolution.
I'll move approval.
I moved by Kip, a second.
Second.
Second by Vance.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah, go ahead, Kip.
We've had several discussions about this in work sessions and throughout this process as we are moving through it. I'm very comfortable with taking this next step and just trying to secure something. I understand that the purchase agreement will have all of our concerns outlined with the annexation, change of the land use and all that. So we have a lot of work to do yet, and I think this is just the appropriate next step. So I'm very supportive of moving forward with this and trying to get something going.
Vance?
And you mentioned fiber. Is it, the county has a fiber loop? Is this close to that fiber loop, or is it?
It's a ways away. The loop actually runs down Stoltzman to Stadium Hill and then heads east from there, so we'd have to bring it up Stoltzman out to this location. So we have worked with their IT department to identify, what that would take and the cost associated with that. So that is one of the factors that we're looking at. We like the idea of the loop because it gives us redundancy, whether we do another loop out to this location or we look at a backup maybe through a tower system. There's still discussions that are ongoing.
Thank you.
Okay, that's a good question. Thank you. Any other questions? So it's moving forward. All right. Hearing none. Let's see, we're going to vote on it.
Yep, we got a motion, got a second.
All those in favor of the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carries.
Mr. Chair and Commissioners, I have number 9 in your packet are the quarterly donations for the first quarter of this year. You'll see on the first page that there have been a number of donations to the library, including some large donations for the summer learning program, and so we certainly appreciate the support we're receiving there for that program. A couple other smaller donations to the Sheriff's Department and to veterans regarding the van. The second page gets into in-kind or product types of donations. Most of those are to the library. And then on the third page are identified volunteers that have contributed to the library, and so bring this forward for the board's acceptance here today.
So moved.
It's been moved by Kevin,
Second.
second by Vance to approve the donations there. All those in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carries. All right. We're all concluded there then. All right. At this point then, I guess we have commissioner reports, right? And who's going to be the lucky one? Let's see. We start with Kevin.
All right, since our last April board meeting, certainly I've been involved in all the donut activities. Appreciate that, a chance to see our different employees doing with that. We've been active with the LeSueur Policy Committee meeting on April 22nd. Also involved with the Monday, April 25th was the PACE Committee. That's part of the Rural Minnesota Energy Board. As we look at that, we had an advisory committee meeting with the True Transportation. Did that over Zoom. Conversations primarily have been around some odor concerns and road concerns and MFS in that. I've got, I forgot now, Jesse, it was 400 and some days, but I finally got my first pocket gopher call from a young gentleman that wanted to know what to do with the pocket gophers. So looking forward with that. And then seeing some of the rain and stuff the last couple of days, a few calls on ditch and water issues, things like that, and been involved in the Rapidan dam activities. That concludes my report, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thanks, Kevin. Kip?
After our last board meeting, yes, the appreciation with the staff was very nice to get out and talk with some of the staffs. I didn't make all of them, but I got to most of them. And then we had the Rapidan open house, which I was impressed with the turnout we had there. The only complaint that I got from a couple people was it was too loud in there and they couldn't really communicate. But, that's just one of those things we deal with. And we'll be having more of them. I did get some feedback from some people that I didn't have my name tag on, and one person came up to me and said, I don't know why we're even here. They've already got this all decided and they're not going to know what they're, they already know what they're going to do. They're just checking the boxes here. And I introduced myself and I assured him that we have not made our decision yet, and we have a lot of discussion to deal with this, and that it would be a relatively long time before any solid decision is made, because there's a lot of stuff to look at here. So, but visited with a lot of people, and I thought it was a good turnout. The safety meeting lunch was fun to talk with some of the staff out there and get out in the shop and talk to the guys. And then I had several things with my SECB committee meetings. I got put on the finance committee meeting also, so I'm kind of involved in that. And several calls on roads, gravel roads issues, drainage issues, of course. And that is my report, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thanks, Kip. Vance?
Well, a lot of the same stuff that Kip and Kevin have gone over. The Rapidan Dam open house was very good, and we are looking forward to more people talking to us and what they feel about it. Certainly hasn't been decided yet. Don't want to mention all the donut things because as a retired police officer, people look at me funny. But I enjoyed it. On Thursday the 21st, I had a TDS board meeting, and then a NACO Department of Justice Equity and Grant Making Zoom. I had on the 22nd, during the safety meeting, I had a Rural Action Caucus monthly meeting, which is the reason I couldn't make the safety meeting, but I did try to stop down afterwards and talk to the folks. Let's see, on Wednesday the 27th, I had a NACO Transportation Committee meeting. Again, donuts at Public Works on the 28th. And I believe that is the end of my report.
Okay, thanks, Vance. I don't have, just a few to add to, like I said, the Rapidan Dam open house on the 19th of April. And of course, we'd like to visit the Justice Center, visit various, for recognition of County Month recognition. And then had on the 20th of April a special meeting on fundraising for Partners for Affordable Housing. On April 22nd, yes, we had the annual safety at Public Works, and that's always good. Catch a lot of the guys that are out doing all the hard work. Then I had the first time with the Airports Commission on Tuesday, the 26th. And up early in the morning, because then we did meet, before that, we did have our recognition with the county employees at the Justice Center there, so it gets really early.
4:45.
Yeah,
4:45.
I thought the Airport Commission alone was early enough.
Thought I was back on duty again.
Yeah, there you go. Then we had I just had it online with the state auditors for our annual Lord County audit meeting, and then I just had after that actual full we had the Public Works, but then I had the Partners for Affordable Housing Board of Directors on the 28th, and that moving along. Then just the All Seasons Arena meeting on Friday the 28th. We did have the city manager of Mankato came with a proposal where, we're looking at a little bit of upkeep and a little bit of bond or coming up with the dollars to upgrade several of the ice rinks there. Discussion on that between all the members, so that's be ongoing anyway. That concludes my report, and if there's anything good for the order, otherwise the motion to adjourn is in order. Recess, I mean to...
Motion to recess.
Recess to powwow? I ever say
Lunch.
that? Or something?
To lunch.
Yeah, to lunch. I thought I'd get someone that would know actually how to say that. Okay,
I'll second it.
It's been seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carries. Meeting adjourned. All right. Or recessed, I should say.